This 2025 Masters Update, live from Augusta, is brought to you by Zions Bank, Black Desert Resort, and Siegfried and Jensen on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex Curie, Jeremiah Jensen, normally with me. Off today. Stevenson Sylvester, University of Utah legend, joining me today. We're down here at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi in American Fork. And Brian Taylor, BT, host of Real Golf Radio with Bob Casper, right here on the KSL Sports Zone every Saturday. You can hear them, and they do a phenomenal job covering their 25th Masters from the Masters. And BT joins us from Augusta. How was Friday today, BT? It was a beautiful day out there.
Man, it's been good so far, and the storylines are still shaping up. But, you know, you see Justin Rose, who had a phenomenal day, shooting 65 in some very tough conditions. Most of the players were blown away that was even out there, as tough as it was yesterday. He shoots 100 today, but he maintains his lead so far. He's there at 8. Bryson DeChambeau with a move. Rory McIlroy, what a response after nearly giving away the tournament. And 2 holes in round number 1, comes back with a flawless 66, and he's put himself right back in there. And then you got Matt McCarty, who punched his ticket by winning the Black Desert Championship here in Utah. What a day for him. 71-68. He's at 5 under par. So, you know, you've got some good things. You got Scheffler that's trying to get into the house. He's a little shaky right now. And lots of great storyline. That leaderboard looks good.
Yeah, and I was talking to Bob yesterday about, like, what Friday – everybody talks about moving day, but Friday obviously makes a difference because you're not going to be at moving day if you can't put it together. And the cut line, I know it was projected between 3 and 4, and I don't know where it totally ended up. But in the end, though, you're battling. People are out there fighting their butts off to try to make sure and make that cut. Tony Finau, one of those guys, not able to do it. His first missed cut at the Masters.
Well, he's not done yet. He's still out there. It's at 2 right now, so he's got some work to do. Tony is playing the 12th hole right now, so he's right in the heart of Amen Corner. So we'll see what he can do. I mean, he's grinding. He's got a birdie and 2 bogeys so far, so we'll see what he can come up with. But he hasn't been sharp this year.
Yeah.
It's just something he's got to try to get better at.
I was you brought up Rory because I'm watching this morning. I was like, oh man, that's a lot because I think Justin Rose fired off and immediately was 2 under after like 3 or 4 holes. He was already just picking up where he had left off, and Rory was at even par still. And I thought, oh my goodness, I don't know how this is gonna. This guy always has a rough kind of first Thursday, and if he can't kind of pull it out, then. But to have a 6 under today, a 66, was beautiful for Rory, and he's not just back in contention. He's got to be one of those guys that should be a favorite going into Saturday and Sunday.
Well, yeah, and we sat through his press conference, and, he just had to kind of set it aside, and the way he looked at it, which is good. The rest of us look at it like, man, you got to get off to a good start. You got all the pressure of trying to win that elusive Masters and complete the career Grand Slam, and it's been 11, years since you last won a major. So that's the way we all look at it. Rory said, look, he went home, had set it all aside, and he just said, hey, look, I'm not going to let 2 holes be the narrative this week for me, and just decided to buckle down and say, look, I'm even par. I probably need to get to 12, 13, 14 under par in order to win this thing, and I got 3 rounds to do it, so let's get to work. And, that's the athlete mindset. I'm fascinated, and Sly can probably speak to this, but, I'm fascinated by the athlete's mindset to be able to just bounce back, to be able to be in the middle of disappointment or having things not go your way, whether it's, you have a bad round of golf, or you have a bad game, or you miss a play, or, you battle through injury, or whatever it happens to be. Even sometimes an entire season can be lost. How do you go through all that it takes, the preparation, the grind, and then here's your moment, and you didn't do it? How do you reset and turn around and then come right back and perform at the highest level? It's a fascinating thing, and you see it so quickly with these different rounds in golf, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the difference between a good player, in any sport, or, the greats. I think you hear that so much when you listen to Kobe, you listen to Michael Jordan, you listen to Tom Brady, is the ability to last play, last day is last day and let's move on to the next. When you got games like basketball and hockey where you have series and golf where you have multiple days, you're like, all right, yesterday was yesterday, let's regroup. And I think that was great things about Tiger too. You had days where I had bad days and I could come back and it's not totally lost. And so I think that's the difference between an average athlete and the good athletes, which we're seeing out on the tour each and every year.
That's a good comment.
I was going to ask you this, BT, about Bryson DeChambeau, because he's a guy who, obviously wins a major last year at the PGA Championship, or at the U.S. Open, rather, and he's had a really good, 24 months, and he had a good start last year at the Masters. What does it take on a Saturday and Sunday, though, that's so much different at this course versus all of the other courses across even the majors in the rest of the tour?
Well, it takes a lot of patience. That seems to be the word that I keep hearing from these guys. It takes patience. You have to understand, where your spots are, where you can, step on the gas a little bit and where you need to just, play for a par in the middle of the green. And it's those kind of things where I'll go back to 2019. Tony Finau's in the final group with Tiger Woods. What an opportunity, right? And he's pretty much staying step for step with Tiger till they get to the 12th hole. And he gets up there and Tony knocks it in the water. I asked him afterwards, I said, and Tiger, by the way, he hit it, over the left side of the bunker in the middle of the green, 2-putted for par and moved on. And I asked Tony afterwards, I said, hey, what'd you hit on 12? And he said, I hit a chip cut 9. And I'll just never forget thinking, wow. I'm like, of all the years that you've watched the Masters, you can't cut. You cannot cut it into 9. That pin is a sucker pin. You look where Tiger hits it. If you want to go back and see where the guys that win the Masters hit it on 12, they hit it over the middle left side of that bunker where it's safe, and you 2-putt. It's nowhere near that pin because it's deceptive. It gets deeper.
If you've got a 50 yard or a 70-foot putt, that's a way better spot to be in than getting fooled by that pin placement. And
absolutely, and there's just those little things.
Yeah,
that's right. You can't. You've got to be able to pick those spots, and I think that's it's a little bit of a combination. You hear all the players talk about trying to understand and figure out the combination of this golf course. And back to Bryson, I think he disrespected the golf course a few years ago when he had his own par. He said it was like a 67 was the Bryson par, and he promptly went out and missed the cut 2 years in a row. And if that's not golf gods, 101, but he since come back with a more humility, a more humble attitude towards this golf course, and it shows. And he's trying to keep his head down and not get too ahead of himself. And he's a dangerous one. Look, he tied for 6th here last year. He finished runner-up, almost won the PGA, and then won the U.S. Open. So this is a guy he's a big game hunter, and he seems like his game is pretty good right now.
Those red numbers are hard to come by enough at this tournament. And then when some guys get on a heater and they just start stacking scores, it's really it's just fascinating to watch when some guy, and usually it's not just one guy running away with it. And even if they do on a Saturday, on moving day, Sunday comes back and it can bite you again too.
Well, that's the great thing about the Masters is, they say Sunday on the back 9, even though at Augusta they call it the second 9. But they usually set it up, and the conditions are such that you can make a run and a charge on the back 9. And that's what makes it so thrilling. Look, it's a tough test. You'll hear every one of the players talk about the difficulty of Augusta National, and yet it's out there. If you put it in the right spots, it's out there. You can make a number. And I think that's what – look, they understand. They want it to be a stern test, but they also appreciate and realize that we love to watch a comeback. We love to watch a charge. And so they set the pins on Sunday for just that. So, I think you're going to see some shuffling around on the weekend. I don't think anyone's going to run away and hide. There's just too many really, really good players that are right there at the top. It's phenomenal. Justin Rose in his 20th. And you've got McCarty playing his first, and they're within 3 shots of each other. It's pretty cool.
Did Sergio Garcia dial it back a little bit on the outfit today, or?
First thing I thought of was McDonald's when I saw that thing. I'm like, what are we doing here?
You can do a lot of stuff. You can get away with a lot as former champion, but I don't know if I don't know if you can get away with that, but
I mean,
goodness.
even Trojan fans are like, "Wow, really? That's a little loud."
Andy Reid said dial it back a little bit.
There you
my
go.
goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my
exactly.
heavens.
Chiefs fans, and so I didn't see him today, but I'm guessing it was anything after yesterday was going to be calmed down.
Adidas is like, hey man, look, I don't know if that's the attention we wanted. Like,
that's what when we told you to spice it up. That's not what we were talking about.
BT, it's a massive day for you and Bob tomorrow, obviously on Real Golf Radio. What do you guys have coming up to tantalize the folks with in the morning?
Yeah, we're grinding right now. So pretty cool stuff. You know, you had some local guys, some kids, I should say, some local kids that played in the drive, chip, and putt on Sunday, and including Todd Miller, Johnny Miller's grandson, Nicholas Miller. So his son Todd, who coaches at BYU golf, and his grandson Nick, who was named after Jack Nicklaus, and of course is a Miller. He finished runner-up, and so we had a chance to visit with them about the experience of participating in the drive, chip, and putt, and then we caught up with Tony Finau after the par 3, where he had all 7 of his caddies. Definitely led the field in number of caddies for the par 3 pageant, we'll call it. And then, Matt McCarty had a chance to do a little feature on him as a first-timer, having punched his ticket through Utah, and then also caught up with him for a few minutes after his great second-round 68. So that's who you'll hear from all of that. And then, of course, the leaders. We've got sound from Bryson and Justin and Rory and all the rest. So it's going to be a fun show.
BT, you don't need to be told this, but soak it all up as you guys always do, and we really appreciate it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be beautiful weather, and just you're the most. We're jealous of you guys at this time of year more than any other group on the entire planet. So yeah,
thanks,
awesome.
man. Yeah, we're spoiled for sure. So what I've done is soaked up a few too many egg salad sandwiches, but otherwise I'm pretty good. So
I don't know. Do they still do the peach ice cream sandwich anymore, or did that one fall off the menu? It wasn't popular enough.
Oh, no, it's very popular, and I've probably soaked a couple of those, too.
There you go. All right. BT, have fun down there, man. We appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Thanks. Appreciate you guys.
All right, there you go. Brian Taylor.
Where's our ice cream?
You know we shouldn't have any. You know this weekend.
You know what? I just bought some popsicle molds, so I'm making my own for the summer.
Oh boy!
No more processed popsicles.
Yes.
You know, Sly's House got the.
You got to stop watching
the healthy stuff.
You got to stop watching these mom influencers on Instagram.
Oh no, they make money.
You've turned into a real weirdo making your own popsicle. I found my own molds at Williams Sonoma. I've been making my own desserts.
Amazon got everything, bro.
I know. Of course they do. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to chat with Chris Smith, of course, here we're at the Doug Smith Mitsubishi here in American Fork. Come hang out with us. It's a beautiful Friday. Come test drive one of these Outlanders. And we've got more to go. We've got the coach, Bear Tourney, going to join us at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock and give us his idea of this last 3 games of the regular season for this team as they hit the road for those last 3 of the hockey club. So stay right here with us, 97.5 BKSL Sports Zone.